Woo! We are the Dank, baby! Welcome to the first episode of baseball because it's opening day today, one of my favorite times of the year. It is the best sport to me. This is a segment that I'm going to be bringing to the Dank Dads because, I'm baseball through and through, and I'm going to teach Vegas a little something today. I got him on here he preaches me about football all the time because that's what he knows best. That's what he excelled in. I'm not saying I excelled in baseball, but I got a huge passion for baseball. It's definitely the sport of it for sure. So welcome. We are the Dank Dads. You can catch us on Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, all that. We go live. We got a special show coming up on Friday. We got another show on Sunday. It's going to
subscribe to our YouTube channel. Subscribe to the Dank Dad Sportscast YouTube channel. For sure.
Yes,
subscribe.
sir. So, Vegas.
What up?
Let me tell you why baseball is the best sport. Okay?
Okay. It's your show, brother. Let's do it.
Every other sport has a time limit. All the other major sports, I should say, right? We got a clock in football. We got a clock in basketball. We got a clock in hockey. Baseball doesn't have a clock. So when a team in the NBA is up 15 with 8 minutes left in the game, 5 minutes left in the game, they sit on the shot clock. They run their plays. They're not pushing the pace. Same with football. Football, you have a 14-point lead with about 4 minutes left in the game. You're running the ball often, right? You're staying in bounds. You're wasting clock. Baseball, you don't get that option. So every man has their chance. You have to see me mano a mano and throw that ball across the plate and make sure that I don't get mine, and you have to get yours. And there is no in between. I can't just avoid you because then that's just going to put you on base. I have to go at you. There is no choice. So that's what makes me appreciate baseball as a sport the most. And you know me best, baseball is a very big analytics numbers game.
Oh, absolutely.
And that's where I stem from. And
you definitely do that.
Because that shit is facts. I mean, you can't get any more real and raw than numbers, right? Like proven numbers. Give me proof. That's what I need. And for
I enjoy watching sports today.
Oh yeah, no, it's a good time of year. We got the draft coming up for NFL draft. We got baseball kicking off, the NBA doing what it's about to do. But another thing about baseball too is the best players do it 30% of the time, or they succeed 30% of the time. And there's even a video with your boy Dion out there saying that, without a doubt, baseball to him was the hardest sport.
Oh, he got some slumps out there for a while.
Yeah, definitely. And I mean, shout out to Dion being able to play in the NFC Championship game and then in the World Series at the same time.
No, you're right. That part. Yeah.
Insane, bro. But yeah, when the best succeed 30% of the time, that's insane, right?
It's a hard sport. The shit's just fucking hard, period.
It is. And what's funny, I say this often, is, you give an NBA player, you give an NFL player a baseball bat, they're going to look pretty goofy when they swing, right? But most professional football or professional baseball players, let's say an outfielder, like a center fielder, like a Ken Griffey or a Deion Sanders, they can go absolutely be athletic enough to go play a different sport without a doubt. Bo Jackson, I mean, the perfect example for that, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, I don't know. Baseball's pretty dope to me. I like that. This is my favorite time of the year. I kick off in fantasy baseball.
Let's applause for fantasy baseball. That's some hard shit. Hey, listen, can you please just enlighten people a tad bit on that shit? I don't. It's your show, but you have to explain this to them, please.
So baseball goes all the way to end of September for fantasy baseball. Playoffs are in October. It's a fantasy lineup every single day until the end of September, starting today, and that's pitchers to putting in your players every single day. So it's quite the grind of watching matchups and is this player good against this team and how does this pitcher go against another this team, and it's a constant. I don't know. What's funny, and I'm just gonna go ahead and throw this out there, is because I'm a dad and I want to be as relatable as fuck, right? I do all my shit during my morning shit, right? I wake up first thing in the morning. I handle my business while I'm taking care of that because I know that I'm not really going to get a whole lot of time to put in the effort towards that the rest of the day. And that's when I get it done, right? And I would say most dads out there probably do the same. So
all right. So it is like an everyday on the grind shit because like fantasy football is just, you prepare, you get a couple trades maybe during the week, but not like, but this is every day. This shit there's a fucking game at 11 a.m. in San Diego.
Yeah,
double headers.
They play, it's insane. Well, they play 162 games. So there's 162 games that you've got to account for one player on one team. Now, if you have another player on another team, that's another 162 games that you got to look out for. And so we have 24 people on our roster. It's insane. It's a lot of fun. I've played it in like 6-7 years. Never, only finished in third one time. It's a grind. It's not fucking easy.
Hey, yo, you light up every time you talk about it. One more applause for the goddamn fantasy league. I'm cool. Hey, listen, I like where I'm at right here. When I play fantasy, I'm stressed, and that shit right there sounds like fucking Ulster. That shit sounds tough. But, yo, let's get into it. Where we going with this, man? Help me out. I watched it today, and it was amazing.
First of all, I just want to get this out the way because I think it's too dope to even hold off on. Did you catch that Angels game with that catch in the outfield?
Listen, my wife and I watched it together. It was the stupidest shit I've ever seen. I don't know if he did he look at it?
He judged where it was at, and he kind of stuck his arm out here. I'm gonna go ahead and go here. Let's see here. So he goes up. We got Ohtani pitching right now, right?
Okay.
We got Hunter Renfroe in right field. Hunter Renfroe's been in the league for quite some time. He played with the Padres. He's been around for a little bit. He played with I want to say the Red Sox. Now he's in with the Angels. So he's probably a 9-year vet. So he's no slouch. So he gets a rocket hit right at him, and it looks like he probably reads the bat off the bat, which is oftentimes something that happens. But good-ass athletes, pro players, will make adjustments.
This is nuts.
High fly ball to right from Peterson. Hit well. Renfroe got turned around and somehow still made the catch. What was that? Hunter Renfroe. Kind of a no-look catch.
Hey, listen.
Bruh, that needs one more time. Just the initial.
This is nuts.
High fly ball to right from Peterson. Hit well. Renfroe got turned around and somehow still made.
Jesus. And we're talking. This is day one. Okay.
Hey, listen. That made me question my athleticism.
Honestly,
hey, can I give that? Can I applaud that dude? God damn it!
And
what the fuck is that?
A lot of people are gonna not probably like this, but I don't care because I stand on this. Is Babe Ruth is not making that catch. Babe Ruth was a pitcher and a hitter, but he's known as one of the greatest ever. He's not making that catch. He's
Why
not
would
in
you
the
even
same
put
position to get that.
Babe Ruth was not built to make that catch, bro.
I understand, but I'm talking about the athlete today. You said it makes you question your athleticism. The athlete today in baseball is far more. You're not seeing that play back in the day.
What I'm saying is that I've never been good at baseball ever. Listen, to this day, if you hit a fucking pop fly, I'm not catching it, homeboy. Like I'm not. No, it's just not my game.
What makes it different than a punt?
And people ask me that shit all the time, right? I used to return hella kicks in high school, right? But the thing is that there's like a depth perception of the sky to the ball, and I just can't get it. I don't know, man. So when I see a catch like that, for me, I'm like, yo, what fucking level of like? I mean, his senses were insane to just know where that ball was going to be. But even how he ran and kept running. Play it one more time. Can we do it again? Can we see it again?
Yeah, let me see. I took it off. Hold on. This athleticism alone, obviously, judged where it was going to be, had an idea of where it was going to land.
Yeah, so if I can't catch one of the motherfuckers from the front and he catch it without looking, yes. I'm like, man.
Well,
Let's see here.
This is
high
nuts.
fly ball to right from Peterson. Hit well. Renfro got turned around and somehow still made the catch. What was that?
Look at dude. Look at homeboy.
Kind of a no-look catch.
Hey. And he's still straight. Yo.
A no look.
Yo, I'm telling you.
This is
High
nuts.
fly ball right from Peterson. Hit well. Renfro got turned around and somehow.
Fucking Venus flytrap out that bitch. That was amazing.
Yeah, that's back shoulder fade right to the back of the end zone.
Exactly. Devontae Adams, homeboy. That was Devontae.
Yeah, that's exactly what the fuck that was. No, that's just dope, and I mean that's what makes baseball exciting shit to me. I mean,
absolutely.
But anyways, that's actually perfect because that's the first game that we can start off on here. So, Angels travel to Oakland. Slow-paced game. Angels were winning 1-0 for a while. They ended up losing 2-1 to Oakland. Oakland's in shambles. There's probably 15,000 people there, and Ohtani was the starting pitcher for the Angels, and there's probably 15,000 people there. So Oakland's not sitting very well. They're not a very good team, so they will probably be.
How much does their stadium usually hold?
I don't know. You might have to fact check me on your iPad because I'd be curious to know what the Oakland Coliseum holds. I don't even want to guess because I don't know, but a lot, and they probably average about 15,000 fans per game. I know there's a couple times last season where they're like at 5,000 for a couple games. I mean they're well on their way out of Oakland, which is unfortunate because Oakland has a lot of pride in their teams. Like Oakland is known for their roots, so I think that they aren't very happy with that. But I mean, it is what it is. When you don't have the money to provide for a quality product, that's what's going to happen. But Ohtani, 6 innings pitched, allowed 2 hits, 10 Ks, no earned runs. I saw a stat that since 1901, he's the 26th pitcher to have 10 Ks, no earned runs, but he's the only one to not win the game. He didn't get the loss, but only one to not win the game. And I wanted to start off with the Angels specifically because of Ohtani, and then being that he's on a contract year. I was telling you guys last episode that this is about to be like
32,000.
32. Okay, I was thinking 38 in my head. So all right,
32,000.
I'd probably be being generous when I say 15,000, but
okay.
I don't think they're getting 50%. But anyways, I was telling you guys last show with Ohtani how it's his contract year. This is probably the closest thing baseball has seen to a LeBron, where you're taking your talents. kind of situation, and it's day one of opening day baseball, and I am so excited for his contract at the end of the season. And it's crazy to even kind of go that far ahead, but it's going to be astronomical, the amount of money that this guy's about to be offered. And this loss tonight, I guarantee he probably doesn't get re-signed with Los Angeles. I mean, he pitches a great game, 10 strikeouts. Like I said, one of the 26 pitchers since 1901 to have 10 strikeouts and no earned runs on an opening day game, but the only one to have lost the game. It's unreal. So I think that his time is done with the Angels. I think that they can still be good this year, but I think he's going to take the most money I've ever seen in baseball contract ever this upcoming offseason. And this dude is Babe Ruth in the flesh, right? Like Babe Ruth was a pitcher and a hitter. And so is this guy. This guy can hit the shit out of the ball, and he pitches insane. So I'm so excited to see what this contract is.
The ultimate baseball player right now.
You have no idea. ESPN, like, ESPN is going to be just walking on eggshells waiting for an Ohtani signing. And it's going to be stupid money. And
if you ever notice, baseball don't take long to do that shit. They don't.
Well,
that shit's mapped out and choreographed out.
Yeah, the player choose. I mean, when you're of this caliber, like Aaron Judge just did it this last offseason. He just re-signed with a crazy ass deal with the Yankees, and he had every team flying out to hit whatever location he wanted to. I mean, he was pivoting out for a minute until he finally made his decision. So when they were of this caliber,
did it take Aaron Rodgers long?
Aaron Rodgers can't do shit right now.
Well,
what do you mean?
Well, I mean, like, so let me not even ask that question because that's dumb. But I feel like they don't take as long as football players take.
I don't know. I think it depends on the player in all sports, really, if they want to get signed quick or not. If you're of the Ohtani caliber, the Judge caliber, it's on when you want to. When you say jump is when the jump happens. So if that's their personality to do it quick, then sure, but no fucking way. I mean, he's gonna let these teams fucking eat each other alive first for a little bit. I guarantee it, bro. And that's just only gonna help his stock, bro. He's sitting quiet is gonna make motherfuckers so nervous that they will be doing whatever they want for that guy. So I don't know, but to move on from Ohtani, so the other guy that he's facing against, I'm not going to stick on this guy too much. A young guy, 25 years old, Kyle Mueller, had a decent game, but he's 6'7", 250 as a pitcher.
Shit.
So if hitting a fastball is hard enough, right? Imagine a guy 6'7", 250 throwing that shit at you. It's crazy. You just got to be pretty fucking intimidating if you ask me. But moving on, we had the White Sox beat Houston. So what's relevant about this game, the Astros are coming off a World Series. They're favorites to win the World Series again this year. They have won 10 consecutive home openers, and the streak comes to an end today. And what's really relevant about this game is what I think is, do you know who Cy Young is, Marcus? You ever heard that name?
Pitcher?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Which is like basically one of the GOAT of pitching that they named. So there's the MVP award, the Cy Young. That's basically the MVP pitchers. I think that, mark my words, you can write this down right now. Dylan Cease of the White Sox will win the Cy Young this year. This dude is off the chain. He's goofy looking. He's got the handlebar mustache.
Yeah,
that guy is just hilarious. But he's skinny. He's not like some big burly guy, but he'll strike out so many dudes. He's dope. I think he's winning the Cy Young. But they outlasted Houston. Chicago actually scored the winning run in the top of the ninth to end it, and Houston couldn't pull through. Ending their opening day streak.
Unveiling of the trophy as well. That went a little wrong.
Yeah. Yeah, how do you lose those games, bro? How do you lose those games?
Say it again.
How do you lose those games?
Hey, listen, you're right. Goddamn. Like the night that
Or
LeBron broke the fucking record.
or you just your hangovers kick back in from remembering everything, and you just say, you know what, fuck it, I just won the ring. I'm not gonna play that hard tonight.
Hey,
I got
with those guys,
162
you
ahead of
never
me.
know.
I mean, with 162 games, dude, oh my god, I'm sure, bro. Like they care about every at bat, but they probably don't care about every game, and that's just the reality of it.
I love it.
What's interesting about this next game, we got Philly at Texas. So Texas Rangers made some moves this year to try and get better. Philly is coming off of the World Series loss to the Astros, right? What is annoying about this game is Texas won 11-7, which is a high scoring for the two starting
I'm
pitchers.
about to say the same thing. That's the only note I have down here. That's the only note I have. I promise was high ass score.
That's a high score, and what's the problem with that is the two pitchers. So if you're opening day pitcher, you are the number one on your team. There's no one better than you at pitching on your team. If you were starting the season as the starting pitcher, you are the guy, right? Like in basketball terms, you're putting as if LeBron was a pitcher, you're starting him day one. That's your opening day guy, right? The Texas Rangers had Jacob deGrom. He's won like 3 Cy Youngs. Dude is gonna go down as one of the greatest pitchers ever. He's already top 3 all time probably, and he just gets killed. He allows 5 runs. The other pitcher is pretty decent, Aaron Nola. He allows 5 runs. They don't have many strikeouts. They don't even go 4 innings, and the game is just in shambles. Now that happens in the Texas ballpark because that ballpark scores a lot of runs, and which is interesting. I don't know if you know this, but in different ballparks affects the offense. Did you know that?
I did not.
So based on how deep their walls are, to how they're configured, to how they're facing with the wind, how they're facing with the sun, it all goes into it. The highest scoring ball
sounds about right.
The highest scoring ballpark is Colorado because of the air so thin out there. The baseball flies like a motherfucker, right? So no pitchers really succeed in Colorado because the ball just gets crushed all the time. The Giants, it's a little bit like their stadium's a little bit harder to hit in because their configurations. They got a big ass wall out in right field. The left field's kind of low. It's all stadiums are different, so it makes it difficult even more. So right. So what's funny about the Texas game is Texas scored 9 of their 11 runs in the 4th inning alone. So you take away that 4th inning, they only score 2 runs. So they batted around that 4th inning. That was just enough to get a pass.
Hey, that big guy who's for Chicago with the tattoos who scored that last home run, I think.
Yeah. Let me see.
It's a sleeve.
You said the last home run?
How the fuck did I get back to the sock? Go ahead. Go what you doing. Go ahead. I'll come back around.
The White Sox, you said Yasmani Grandal.
How long has he been around?
He's a catcher. He's been around for probably coming on 8 to 9 years. He's been around for a while. He was on the Dodgers. He was on a couple of other teams.
He had a little drug problem for a while, huh? Is that him?
I don't know.
All right. Move along. I'm sorry. That was the high moment.
Next is we go against we got the San Francisco Giants going to New York. Obviously, I'm a Giants fan, and it's not looking very good. And it didn't look good last year. It's funny though because 2 years ago they won like 109 games, which if you win over 100 games, that's the real deal. Like that's crazy if you win over 100 games.
Right.
And they won 109, so it was and then they lost in the playoffs to the Dodgers, and then the next year they just shit the bed, don't even make the playoffs. And this year, man, I'm looking at the lineup, I'm looking at all the players, and there's just not a player on there that scares me as far as like a pitcher. And it's not there. A lot of these teams have these guys that when they come up to bat, they're nervous. They want to pitch around them. They're not going to give them these fastballs and right down the middle. They're going to try and pitch around them and fool them. But on the Giants, man, there's no one on that lineup that just puts fear into another pitcher's face, dude, and that's not good. I'm a little bit worried. The Giants pitching is really well. The guy who pitched today, Logan Webb, I mean, he struck out 12 guys in 6 innings. So
Crazy.
That's a lot. That's a lot of strikeouts. Fortunately, he set the record for the Giants for opening day strikeouts today, and he's legit. He's the true starter, our number one guy. He's legit. I don't expect that. He gave up 4 runs, but that's not. I don't think that he's going to be doing that consistently. But if our team doesn't score any, then his 12 strikeouts don't mean anything. And it's all cool and all pretty, but if you don't score one more than the other team, then it don't mean shit. Right? It's just a loss. But on the other side, Garrett Cole, he's the number one for the Yankees, getting paid stupid money by the Yankees. He had 11 strikeouts himself in 6 innings. Aaron Judge, very first at bat of the season, coming off an MVP year. He just won the MVP. He just set the AL record in home runs with 62 home runs last year. He starts off his first at bat with a 443-foot shot to center. Right?
Correct.
Let's see if I can pull this up. Just annihilated it. Let's see here. First inning, first at bat. They let Judge start cooking.
That one's driven to field and deep. Yastrzemski back, still back, on the track, at the wall. See ya! He picks up where he left off.
Yeah, so I mean, exactly what that announcer said. Picked up right where he left off. First at bat. Bomb to center. And it is what it is. And the Giants lose 5-0. Giants are going to lose a lot of games this year, and I'm just going to be realistic as a Giants fan right now. I'll admit that it kind of goes along the lines with the 49ers, man. We might be a little bit spoiled, and I'll just keep it real. And this team's not very good, and we didn't get better in the offseason. Huh?
I don't want to talk about football.
All right, turn your mic up a little bit.
Oh, shit. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
You
got the candle in your face and you're whistling. Make sure
there we go. Huh?
You're all right.
Bow. How about bow? All right, cool.
What pisses me off too, I'm just gonna I want to go in on the Giants a little bit. They got played by 2 players, essentially, more so through the media. So they had Aaron Judge, because Aaron Judge is from Sacramento. So coming home, come and play for the Giants. That was in his thought process. He grew up as a Giants fan. And I don't think he played us on purpose, but he used, I think his heart was with the Yankees the entire time, but he used other teams to get Yankees to kind of pull the trigger a little bit better. And what's funny is last year they didn't want to pay Judge. They held off on his contract. And it was almost like a Lamar situation where Yankees ended up putting their foot in their mouth because this dude that next year wins AL MVP, sets the record for home runs. They should have just paid him. Instead, they added $100 million onto his next contract, basically, because they didn't want to pay him sooner. And they just fucked around, and he's like, okay, watch. And they fucked around and watched. And ended up having to pay him way more than he needed to. So then he pimped the Giants out a little bit. He used them as a pawn in order to get more money from the Yankees. And then another player did that, Carlos Correa. He actually signed, like, I don't know at what point where the medical process is on the signing, like the physical, but it was basically a verbal agreement for 10 years, $130 million guaranteed. It's $345 million. Sorry, 10 years. $345 million, 10 years. And then the physical comes back that the Giants don't really like his knee and where it's at. So the deal falls through, and then he goes off to our teams and does this. But they sign it, like they make this big old announcement. He changes his Twitter picture to the Giant Stadium, all this extra shit. And then 5 days later, the deal falls through. And, I mean, ultimately, I didn't really want to pay that guy that much money, so I was kind of okay with it. But they didn't do anything to get better this year. They lost their main pitcher from last year. and they didn't really get better. So it's gonna be a long season. But I'm gonna move on. I'm not gonna be on that pity party for too long. I'm just gonna get it out the way because it's gonna be a long one for us Giants fans. So there's a dude on. Yeah, of course. Also, going to work in sport. I think baseball, it's harder to win the championship in baseball than it is any other sport. Football, you get hot at the end, you get a good team, kind of like it's not as much of a grind as far as longevity to get there, right? You can have a solid year. Same with basketball. You can draft a LeBron and you can get a championship. But baseball, I mean, teams go hundreds of years without winning one. Like the Cubs went like 110 years without winning a championship. And given that it's the longest sport, it makes it tough. Like it's a lot better, a lot more easier to be realistic in baseball, knowing that it's harder to win a championship than it is in other sports. But anyways, there's this guy from Pittsburgh. His name is O'Neal Cruz. He is 6'7" and runs a low 40-yard dash. He can throw the baseball across the diamond at like 96 to 98 miles an hour from shortstop to first. And there's not many shortstops that are 6'7", and that's what like is insane. He weighs like 225 pounds, so he's not too heavy for 6'7", but
right.
How he moves and how he plays the game is unreal. This dude is like a freak of nature as far as out there. Like, you remember when Giannis came onto the league and then he really started getting good, and like this dude looked like the Monstar's arm, how his arm was stretched out and long, like dunking, like that's what this guy looks like. But he hit a home run today. He played really well. The Pittsburgh Pirates are not a very good team. They're one of the teams that probably won't make the playoffs. So it's going to be tough for him to kind of make that. But he said, the time.
Click. Those clicks in there, buddy. Perfect.
And tell her what to do.
There's a drive to right field. This is going to tie the game. How about an opening day cruise missile? O'Neal Cruz.
425 feet.
With ease, Bob. With ease.
Jeez.
How big is that dude?
Drive to right field. This is going to tie the game. How about an opening day cruise missile? O'Neal Cruz.
425 feet.
With ease, Bob. With ease.
How big is that guy?
He's 6'7", 200. He's only 225 pounds. He's not super heavy, but
6'7"
at shortstop. The name of his position has the word short in it. Okay, and he runs a low 40-yard dash, and can throw 96, 98 miles an hour across the diamond while fielding a ground ball. The dude is legit, and I have him on my fantasy team. So hit the button for me for O'Neal Cruz. Hit the button for me, baby. Let's go.
Whatever it takes. Drag it.
Shout out to O'Neal Cruz. Keep balling, baby. Another exciting game. We had Colorado at San Diego Padres. So San Diego Padres they have the biggest World Series window that they've ever experienced is right now with their roster. Their roster is absolutely stacked. I have never seen a Padres team so stacked since Tony Gwynn back in the 90s. Tony Gwynn was an absolute baller of a baseball player.
Oh, my boy Andre will be so fucking happy to hear that. Hear you say that. real fans.
And Glenn,
Bingo.
all right. Tony Gwynn also, not only is he a legit San Diego Padre, but he is the all-time assist leader for San Diego State basketball. I just saw that today. And San Diego State basketball is in the Final Four, so I thought that information is fairly relevant to kind of what we got going on. It was kind of tired. I didn't know that until today. I saw that, and he was sitting there balling on San Diego State.
Hey, yo, listen, I didn't know Tony was an athlete like that. I'm a big boy. I didn't know that.
Well, the college picture was not very big. He packed on some weight when he got onto the majors.
I live in good shit.
Basically,
Look, Tony Gwynn.
Basically, the San Diego Padres are kind of like the Chargers. They got all the talent to be really good, but they always fumble. They always fumble.
Hey, listen, I told you, I used to travel to San Diego to do business, and it was the laziest town I've ever seen. But here's another thing. San Diego is probably like the most accessible town to their athletes that I've ever seen. Like, these dudes are everywhere. Like, they don't, like, you know, they're everywhere in San Diego, just out and about, and at the bar. What's that bar? Sayals? They would be there like all the time. It's just weird. And I think that, I don't know, it's just something about that town where they don't ever get it done.
I like their stadium is super sick looking, but their team is stacked with MVP caliber players, and if they don't get it done this year, then they're gonna be catching a whole lot of heat. But they lost today, their opening day. They played against Colorado. Colorado's in the NL West. They're both in the NL West. For a division, kind of, I don't want to call it division rival, but they know each other well, so a loss is not that severe, I guess. Cleveland was their opening night against Seattle. Seattle was at home. Both those clubhouses are going to have pretty decent teams. I see both of them finishing at the top of their divisions. We'll go ahead and find out later on. They're nothing too much to report on them. Detroit.
Who's that? Who's that?
That is Cleveland, the Guardians, and the Mariners.
Okay.
Detroit fell 4-0 to Tampa Bay. Tampa Bay has a really good ball club. Detroit hasn't really been much since about 2010 when they had Prince Fielder. So they've kind of been in the gutter for a while. Tampa Bay is one of those teams that has a crazy amount of talent, but can't ever seem to get over the hump either. Like, they always got crazy. The last, 5 years, they've had a really good young team, and they can never, get over the hill. So I'm interested to kind of see. And plus, they're in the same division as the Yankees, which is very tough, and it's not easy to go up against. A World Series favorite, the Atlanta Braves, they came across today 7-2 against the Washington Nationals. Washington Nationals are also on the lower half of the league. They're not a very good team. Max Fried, who is the Braves starting pitcher, he left a hamstring injury. That's a big time for me because that's one of my top pitchers that I drafted in fantasy. So we'll have to see where he goes. He has a good team around him, so I'm not too worried about him. Now, Baltimore at Boston. Now, this pitching matchup, this game ended 10-9, another high-scoring game. But this pitching matchup for opening day is hilarious because it's Kyle Gibson versus Corey Kluber. These guys are our two dads out there pitching. Is what these guys are. They are old
with that shit. That's funny.
and washed up, and I feel bad for these teams knowing that these are their starters as their main guys. Corey Kluber used to be legit about 7 years ago. Kyle Gibson always been above average, but he's just like that workhorse journeyman. He's like that. What's that one UFC fighter? He's a cowboy. The cowboy.
Donald Cerrone.
Yeah, he's like that.
I was going to say the same shit. Salute to our brains, boy. I was going to say the same shit. I love it.
See here with the Dank dads were multifaceted. We can interchange different sports at any given fucking moment.
Yeah.
You didn't know Tony Gwynn was leading assist guy at San Diego State? Yeah.
Did not know. Let's go.
Baltimore has won 8 consecutive opening day games. So any betting people out there, go ahead and take them next year. Just mark it on your calendar, 365 days from now.
Okay.
Minnesota took a win 2-0 against Kansas City. Minnesota's supposed to be a good team.
No. Let's go back to Baltimore, bro. What the fuck is a violation strikeout? What is a violation strikeout?
Oh, okay. I'm glad you brought that up because I actually meant to talk about this before we got into these matchups. But so baseball is trying to be innovative, right? They're trying to speed up their game a little bit. They're trying not to lose viewers as much. So what they're doing is they're putting a pitch clock on these pitchers and batters, basically. There's a clock. You have to pitch a ball within a certain amount of time. Most times back in up until last year and before that, if a player hit a foul ball, he would step out of the batter's box, he'd fix his gloves, he'd fix his shoes, he'd take 30 seconds, and then he'd put one foot in there, he'd tell the umpire, hold on, I'm not quite ready yet, he's still doing all this shit, and then he'd be ready, right?
Okay.
And that shit is just taking way too long.
That was probably a really good idea they did that.
It was an excellent idea on my part. So all the old heads hate any changes. That's a funny thing about these old-time baseball fans, like my dad. Any change to the game, their absolutely head explodes. They have no idea how to handle it.
Not the old man. Hey, first of all, fuck that. Salute to the old man. Salute to your daddy.
I'm not necessarily talking about him, but I'm talking about just as old-time baseball fans. Like any sort of change to the game, they lose their shit. And it's more than like football fans when the pass interference stuff comes around. That's just kind of general shit talking. But like these guys get like really upset about it, and it's like they just are unwilling to. It's just America's pastime, and you don't change that shit, and that is what it is, and is what it is. Anyways, but this is good for the sport as far as now instead of the games being 3.5 hours, which I don't mind a game being 3.5 hours, because I enjoy that. But I understand for the average fan, it's not the move, right? Especially if it's a low-scoring game, they're not going to understand that, and I get that. So they had to do something. They had to make a move somewhere else. Now games are about 2 hours and 30 minutes. So they cut about a whole hour off of this game. Now I see a couple different factors. Obviously, these stadiums are going to lose dollars. No, they're. Strategy is on like the pitchers, how they can mind fuck things and they can quick pitch and they can wait till the whole clock.
But pitchers used to do the whole, like you were saying, batters would do the stop thing real quick and then
they'd all do it. So
that's back and forth. You know, at that was that a part of what they wanted to eliminate? Like because that is amazing. I might watch baseball now because that was just the thing that really turns you off about baseball is like these guys are fucking checking their helmet, they fucking coming out there restrapping their gloves. It's like fuck, man. And you turn to another channel and come back, they still doing that shit. You know what I'm saying? Like,
and it's going to be interesting because these guys are going to be called out on violations on very important moment of the game, and that ump's going to have to make that call in that moment, and he's going to have to. That first ump is just going to have to take that sword right to the chest from all these, from the whole media and all that, and it's going to be tough.
He did it. He did it.
No, I'm talking about in a very important moment, like bottom of the 9th inning.
Oh,
runners
man.
on, like
listen, you better know.
Type shit.
You better, and listen, that is a great point. Hey, yo, salute to that fucking point, Jeffrey. Listen, we are going to definitely run into a rogue umpire who is fed up with a motherfucker. Yo, speak to that real quick. How's that going to play out?
Well, I mean, I think that both players are gonna manipulate it. Like I saw in spring training, the pitcher, as soon as he stepped on the rubber and that clock went, he pitched like right away. He didn't even let 2 seconds go off of it. But then the next time he got his pitch, he got set and he waited the entire 20 seconds and he didn't even move. And on the very last second, then he pitched. So they're gonna fuck with it still. They're gonna find ways to manipulate it. In baseball also made the bases bigger. They added a couple of inches to the whole entire base. And I didn't really see the reasoning why, other than the only thing I thought was injuries, guys colliding, and maybe like with a bigger base, they have a little bit more chance to avoid each other, or like hands getting stepped on and shit like that. But no, I think overall it's good for the baseball. I do think it's going to hurt the stadiums though, because the concession numbers are going to go down. If you got fans there for an hour less, that's an hour less worth of food, beer, and merchandise that they're going to be buying. So I'd be curious to see after a couple of years how much that affects.
Oh, they'll add another buck on that bitch.
Yeah, that's all they got to do.
They'll add 62 cents in a heartbeat.
Right. And now, the beers at a baseball game are $12 already. You're going to end up getting, a $14 beer.
One beer at a baseball game, $12.
Yep. I think the cheapest in the league is like $9. And it's all bad. But Baltimore actually has this rookie catcher. On his very first swing of his major league career, he hit a home run, and that's pretty fucking dope. And that shit is what baseball kind of is all about. That's the type of shit that'll turn an average fan into a big fan, or a kid just learning the game to, holy shit, I love this. It's those kind of moments, dude, that just like give chills, especially when you're at that game and how hard of a grind it is for baseball. Like for football, you go to college and then you go to the NFL and you might have to dabble in Canadian or XYFL for a little bit or whatever it might be, or just be lucky enough to stick in the league. But baseball, man, you have to stay in the minor leagues unknown for so many years before you even get your shot. It's such a grind. It's unbelievable.
But listen, even my college roommate, Nick Blue, played baseball at Wake Forest. He's my roommate, and he would have to go like to Cape Cod of the level he was at. He was on a high level. So you go to the Cape, or guys would go over here, or he would go to two different, they would play all season long, like all summer long. So he would come out of his spring season, and then he'd go to the Cape. They would play and travel. Like, yo, those guys are always working. Like, they are shaping those guys' minds for that kind of grind. You know what I mean? Like, they out there for a while, man, on the road.
Unknown. Well, and minor league baseball players, they get like upwards of like $900 to $1,200 a week. Like, they're not getting paid that much money, dude. Like, yeah, they got their housing, their hotels, and their food and shit paid for, but $1,200 a week trying to make it, dude. That's not like what people think is like a minor league baseball player is making, and that's like insane to think about. And that's just like, that could be AAA. There's AA. There's single A. Single A is like the Chickasaw Boondocks. Like those fucking, you don't even know those where that game's at. Right? Like,
what was that? What was that? Bull Durham?
Yeah,
Bull Durham.
That is AAA. So
okay, cool.
Like I don't know. There'll be the Chattanooga Seawolves.
Yeah.
Just like no idea. And those guys are just grinding, trying to make it. And it's kind of a trip too, because you could be playing in your game with like the Reno Aces, let's say. You could be playing shortstop, right? And the Reno Aces, their affiliate is the Arizona Diamondbacks. So you could be playing AAA, and the Diamondbacks need a shortstop, and you're playing shortstop in the fifth inning. As soon as you get that third out, they're saying, "Go pack your bags, bud. You're out of this fucking game. You're not even here anymore." Like, they'll pull you out of the game and shoot you on a flight with the quickness. And it's for like AAA teams, it's hard to kind of get that camaraderie going because guys are just constantly in and out, coming down, going up and down, and all that. And at the end of the day, they want those guys playing well and they want to win games. But if the Diamondbacks say, hey, we need this so-and-so, he does not touch the field until he leaves. There's no injury, nothing. They don't give a fuck if you win that game or not. They take you out and send him on the first flight out of there. Don't even let him get dressed. It's nuts. And then he might be up there for 2 games and have to be right back down to Reno. It's a grind, and all they're doing, sometimes they might bring you up to just not even play, just to.
So Aces is AAA, right?
Yeah, they're the next closest to Major League.
Okay, damn. Listen, I got to do that, yo. Shout out to the Reno Aces, man. Fuck with you,
yeah, absolutely.
Me and Jeffrey, we gonna do the announcing. We gonna announce one of them games, man. They gonna let us in.
Shout out to them too, because they just won their division last year. The Reno Aces just won the Pacific Coast League, so they're Pacific Coast League champions.
I love it.
But so even if there's an all-star for the Diamondbacks and he gets hurt for an extended period of time where he hasn't swung a bat in a while, to get him up and going and ramped up, they'll throw him with the Aces for 4 or 5 games, and then before they bring him back up, and just to kind of get his feet wet, because those at bats, those time in the field, that doesn't matter. It's not counted towards your pro stats, right? It's counted towards your minor league stats, but not your MLB stats. So they let them get their feet wet and kind of get going and bring them back up. So there'll be times every once in a while where you'll catch a real big star with the Reno Aces coming and playing in town, or maybe a guy on another team that's coming back from injury that's coming into town. That's pretty cool. That usually brings people into the seats when they see that big leaguer coming in, and literally, dude, he dude's making $100 million, and he just steps into the Reno Aces dugout for 4 games with his fucking dick out, yeah, you guys ain't gonna say shit to me. I'm not gonna be here very long, and then just be right back on his way out, dude. It's a crazy ass sport, man, when you dive really deep into it.
I wonder what the ticket sales play when you do have a high guy like that. So there's a regular game, huh?
Hell of a lot better, for sure.
I'm talking for the Aces. When he comes down, do those seats go up $30? How does that? You ever ran into that? How does that work?
No. No, for the Reno Aces, they don't move the money like that. But I would say that they sell more tickets for sure.
Okay.
Because it's also so volatile. You don't know if he's actually going to play or not. You don't know, because those games don't matter to those guys, as far as other than just getting practice in. So. They're not going to get hurt in a AAA game. That's for damn sure. So
I see.
It's tough to say. They can't market it that well because they don't know when or how. It could be the next day that the dude starts. It's hard to market that, But so moving along, we got Minnesota at Kansas City. Minnesota's supposed to be a pretty good ball club. Kansas City's not going to be very good. Minnesota won 2-0. What's dope about this one is Kansas City has a pitcher that started for them today, Zach Greinke. 19th season in the major leagues. 19th season, and he's the opening day starter. And that's pretty dope, I would say. So
all the time.
I don't know. I'm going to start asking some other baseball fans if Zach Greinke is a Hall of Famer or not. Based on longevity, you almost got to give it to him, and he might have a World Series or 2 with the Dodgers and the Astros, but I don't know if he's a Hall of Famer. I'm going to look into that a little bit more.
2 World Series?
Yeah,
I don't get you Hall of Fame in baseball? Fuck.
It does. It does what it does.
What else you got to do? What the fuck else you got to do?
I don't know, man. There's a lot of guys out there. It's tough. It's
Jeffrey, you hard on motherfuckers anyway, Jeffrey.
I am.
2 World Series, Jeffrey? 2?
I don't like letting everybody in though. That's my thing.
I know that. I definitely. Hey, listen, your stubbornness. You're a stubborn motherfucker. Seriously. 2.
I don't know.
2.
A lot of guys have 2 though.
19 years, 2 World Series.
The Giants won 3 championships in 6 years, and some of the pitchers were on that same team. I just don't know that you just give it to everybody. 19 seasons though, I don't know. I still think he's outside looking in, but I am tough on people. I will admit that.
We got to put that question out there for real baseball fans. I'd like to know how that comes back because you know level evil when it comes to how you don't fuck around.
I think to give him a fair shake, I need to pull his stats and really look at his stats before I can give a real answer on that. Because that's going to be the defining factor to me. But moving along, so Arizona at Dodgers, which Greinke played for both these guys. Dodgers won their home opener 8-2. They got this starting pitcher, Julio Urias. He is 26 years old, and he's been in the league for 7 years. So we just got done talking about how long it takes for baseball players to get in to the league, right?
Yeah.
He started when he was 19 years old, his very first appearance. And he's now starting as the opening day starter for the Dodgers. They're expecting a lot out of this kid now that he's had 7 years and only 26 years old experience. They're expecting a lot out of him. He's had some off the field issues, but that was like 4 or 5 years ago. He seemed to be clearing that up. Had a pretty decent outing tonight, but they're putting a lot on that dude. Kershaw's still with the Dodgers. I think he's pitching like game 3. He's without a doubt first ballot Hall of Famer. That dude is probably the second greatest Dodger pitcher of all time, behind Sandy Koufax. Another high-scoring game, Toronto at St. Louis. That was 10-9. Shout out to St. Louis. I know that those are your people over there.
Oh yeah. The Witt family.
They got. St. Louis has a really good lineup. So does Toronto. Toronto's got Vladimir Guerrero Jr., who's a baller. Both teams just have stacked offenses. They're also both in really good divisions, so it's going to be not easy for them, but they are capable of making a long playoff run without a doubt. St. Louis is like, I was going to say they're like the Pittsburgh Steelers of baseball, other than Steelers haven't been good the last 2 years, but where they always put a good product on the field. Like they always are above average.
I thought they're the Lakers.
Oh, hell no. That's the Yankees. That's the Yankees. Or the Dodgers.
I feel like the Yankees are
no, St. Louis is like that blue collar, punch you in the nose, get work done. Like the Steelers or like the who's another good example for that?
That's just my mind. I saw YouTube there at that stadium, so that's probably just my mind thinking it like LA. I was high. I'm sorry.
Yeah,
go ahead.
That's far from the truth.
I'm gonna shut up.
But they both have really good teams. They'll be both in the hunt towards the end of the season. Milwaukee Brewers played the Cubs. That was a 4-0 win for Chicago. Chicago's bolstered their team a lot. They added a lot of players. They added a lot of dollars. They got another Japanese cat that plays right field. That's supposed to be another little phenom that came last year. He's not as good as Ohtani, but he's really good. The Mets beat the Miami Marlins 5-3. So another big one with this one is the pitching matchup. This is Max Scherzer versus Sandy Alcantara. I probably butchered that last name, but Sandy won the Cy Young last year, and Max Scherzer's won the Cy Young before. Both of them mediocre. They didn't really blow the doors off anybody.
Hot bats though. Is that batter violation as well? Is it another batter violation?
Yep. And we're gonna definitely be seeing a lot of those over this season until players really adjust. Just to kind of wrap things up here, real quick. Hold on. Just going over, I wanted to talk about the favorites to win each division and kind of who I thought was going to take those home, and then the World Series favorites. In the AL East, they got the Yankees favorite at plus 115. That's probably the front runner. That's why the money's not too high on that, plus 115. I mean, that's basically even money. you're not getting a great return on that. The Blue Jays are up there too, but they're like more like plus 800. I think the Yankees are going to go ahead and take that. I want all of these picks for documentation, so at the end of the year I can come back and make some reels and some right answers I just fucking made. And if they're not right, then we'll just forget about this episode.
Act like it never fucking happened.
Yeah. The AL Central, they got the Guardians as a favorite. They're plus 125. My pick for that to win that division is the White Sox at plus 220. The White Sox, I think it's kind of make or break year for them. They got a really good roster. I told you they got that Dylan Cease guy I think is gonna win the Cy Young. I think that they're gonna win. So, I would put my money on them. The AL West is probably the biggest favorite. That is the Astros at minus 200. So you're in the negative on odds with the Astros. So they're really expecting them to win that division. My sleeper pick for that one is the Angels, though. I think that with Ohtani being his last year, I think Trout knows that as well, obviously, and I think that they're going to leave it all out on the table this year, and I think they're going to take away that division. I think they're going to win it. What's going to be their Achilles heel is that pitching. Their pitching is fucking terrible.
Jeff,
so,
my brother-in-law Jeffrey would die. He would die if his Angels were yeah, okay. Let's go.
So, but for when you're looking at these odds are to pick the winner of the division this early on. You're supposed to get in something with good odds. Why would you take the Astros at minus 200 day one of the season? We don't even know what's going to happen, bro. That's terrible odds. But you can get the Angels at plus 600. Like that's a way bigger return on your money on day one of a. And I'm not talking your entire mortgage, right? This is a little play money. It's plus 600.
You don't know whose mortgage it is, motherfucker.
Well,
what's my guy for the Astros that won $10 million? Shit, fucking.
Yeah, but that's he ain't putting his mortgage on it, bro, because he's putting his other fund money account. I'm talking about, I don't advise any of that. Moving on to the NL, the NL East, they got the Braves as the favorite at even money. So you put up $100, you win $100. That's dead middle odds. Now, what's interesting about this one is
red or black.
The team that just went to the World Series is the Phillies in that same division, and they're plus 385. So if they're just coming off a World Series loss, that plus 385 looks pretty nice as far as why can't they run it back, Why you take the Braves at even money when you could just the Phillies beat the Braves last year, right? So NL Central, they got the Cardinals at the big favorite, minus 130. That's the second biggest favorite to win their division. Their rest of their teams are pretty terrible. I see the Cardinals taking that one away. The NL West has the Dodgers at minus 110, so they're negative odds. The Padres at plus 110. I'm going to go ahead and pick the Padres to finally outlast the bigger brother this year. Dodgers have always been the bigger brother. And Padres have always been the ugly stepchild to the Dodgers. I'm going to go ahead and pick the Padres, and I think that the Giants finish last in that division, which is unfortunate. So it's going to go Padres, Dodgers, Rockies, Diamondbacks, Giants. Favorites to win the World Series, the biggest favorite on the board is plus 400, and it's the Astros. Okay, to win the World Series.
Again?
So you put up
Again?
Yeah. So you put up $100, you win 400. The next closest is the Yankees at plus 750. So you put up 100, you win $750. That's quite the difference in odds.
So if you place that bet today, and they make it, that's your payout.
No, if they win it.
Yeah, if they win it, that's your payout.
Then you get your $100. So if you took the Astros at plus 400, you put $100 on that, you get 400 plus your 100 back, so 500. So you'd win 400 plus your 100 back. But the difference between first and second on that list is plus 400 and plus 750. That's $350 worth of difference that they're factoring. What's funny about they have. I mentioned earlier that the Braves were the favorite to win the NL East at even money. You put up 100, you win 100. But for the World Series, the Mets, who are in their same division, have better odds to win the World Series than the Braves do, which is kind of interesting to think. Like, they have the Braves winning the division, but they think the Mets have a better chance of winning the World Series, which is kind of strange to think about when they're in the same division. You would think that the odds would match up evenly, but so maybe, I don't know, the fix is in, the script is out, and they know. But
tricky.
Anyways, we are the Dank Dads. That is the opening day baseball.
I had a ball, man.
This show definitely ran way longer than I envisioned it, which I love because I really got to dive in deep on this baseball thing. And I really
subscribe to the Dank Dads Sportscast on YouTube. Yep. Subscribe to the Dank Dads Sportscast on YouTube.
Okay. We have an amazing show coming up Friday night where we're touching all sports-related topics.
We'll talk about more baseball as well. We'll jump back into this.
Yeah. Well,
listen,
there's going to be a whole
I had a really good day.
Then.
I enjoyed watching a lot of it, man. Like, this was, I think perhaps because of the the rules that they put in play, that it does look faster. Looks like a faster sport. Absolutely. So I didn't have any problem watching a lot of it today, man. It really boom, 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 boom. And I really, I think that's going to improve the sport. But, salute to you, my brother, for having your first show. And guess what? You know where we go from here. It ain't nowhere but up. Absolutely. Take him out the room, brother. Take him home.
We have the Dank Dads. You can catch us on YouTube, Facebook. We'll be back Friday night and then again Sunday night. Pieces.